Mr. UVB here. So today I'm going to bring you guys my review of the 6th and newest installment in the DCEU, or Worlds of DC as it's known now, Aquaman. So going into this movie I don't even know what kind of expectations I had, to be honest. I was looking forward to it, but at the same time I was kind of nervous because the DCU has not been that great overall. There are some entries that I do enjoy. I liked Man of Steel. I thought Wonder Woman was really good. Overrated, but really good. And I think the Ultimate Edition, like the extended cut of Batman vs. Superman, was decent. That being said, Suicide Squad and Justice League were just not good movies, especially Suicide Squad. I think that is genuinely a terrible movie. So I was nervous for Aquaman because of that, because the trailers didn't really intrigue me that much. I didn't think they looked all that great, and I was nervous for this movie because of that. I am happy to say that coming out of this film, I loved it. This is not a perfect movie, there are some issues, but overall I think this was a thoroughly enjoyable movie with some amazing action sequences and some of the best visual effects I've seen in the movie to date. I mean, those aspects of the movie were what surprised me the most, because during the trailers, I didn't think the effects were all that great. As a matter of fact, I actually thought some of the effects in the trailers weren't even that good. But no, I mean, they're beautiful here, and that's hilarious because this is a movie that's coming after Justice League, which had, honestly, some of the worst visual effects I've seen in a, $300 million budget film. I don't even know how that happened. I still can't wrap my head around the effects in Justice League, but yeah, this movie was beautiful. So this film was directed by James Wan, who has directed the Conjuring franchise, the Saw films, so he's very primarily known for directing horror films. The first Saw, by the way, none of the crappy sequels. He also directed Furious 7, which is a really big action movie, so he knows what he's doing when it comes to filmmaking. He's really good with the camera. There are some amazing shots in this movie. The action sequences were some of the most, enjoyable, eye-candy kind of action sequences I've seen in a superhero movie to date. And I know that is a huge statement to make, but I thought the action sequences in this film were epic. They were filmed amazingly, they were very wide, they were very long shots, they were kind of like rotating around the characters. It just had this very awesome and unique James Wan feel. If you've seen any of his other films, you'll know what I'm talking about, because he utilizes that same technique here, and it works so well in this film's favor. And the visual effects, like I said earlier, were just gorgeous. This movie better get nominated for visual effects. If it doesn't, I'm gonna be very surprised, because this film was beautiful, and if I have to be honest, I would definitely give the award to this. While Infinity War and Solo and those kind of movies had really good effects, they weren't visually stunning, especially Solo. That movie did not look very nice, like color grading and that kind of stuff. It was kind of a messy looking film. This looked stunning. I mean, this reminded me of Avatar with how much the colors popped out on the screen. They were very vibrant and very beautiful, and it looked really, really nice. The story in this film is pretty simple. You have Arthur Curry, who after the events of Justice League still wants nothing to do with Atlantis, but he kind of has to get into that role because his half-brother, King Orm, wants to take over the throne and declare war on the surface, because, he's just done with, Atlantis kind of hiding underwater for centuries and not, fighting back against the surface because of all this pollution, that kind of stuff in the water. So it was a pretty simple storyline, and in order to defeat him, he's gonna need the Golden Trident, the Trident of Kings. I don't remember what they call it, but he's gonna need that to defeat him. And it's a pretty basic story, and the narrative in this film could sometimes suffer. There were some times where I thought the film got a little bit slow during the second act, but it's like, it's not a huge issue in my opinion, and I know some people are gonna disagree on that. There's some people that consider those kind of things really huge problems, but this isn't like the same kind of narrative issues you had with something like Batman vs. Superman or Suicide Squad. Those are far worse issues. It's just here the film did get a little bit slower sometimes, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was boring. It just got slower. The pacing kind of came to a halt, and not much would be going on during those moments. But that's really my biggest negative I can say with this movie, besides the dialogue. Sometimes the dialogue in this was really bad. There's gonna be people who are not gonna like this movie because of that. My brother, for example, really did not like this movie. He thought the dialogue was terrible, and yeah, there is some really bad dialogue in this movie for sure. I don't think it was 100% intentional, but at the same time, I don't think it was necessarily like just bad writing. I think in some sense this movie knew what it was trying to be, and that's gonna turn off a lot of people. I don't know for sure. I'm just a person reviewing a film. But whatever, that's just how I took it. Anyways, yeah, overall, those are the two biggest issues. But besides that, everything else, like I said here, is just awesome. The cast was really good for the most part. There were two actors in this movie that were downright awful, and they were kids, so, I mean, yeah. Well, one of them wasn't even really a kid. He was like 18 or so, and he was playing a young version of Aquaman, and that is probably some of the most cringeworthy acting I've seen in the film. Like, it was bad. But Jason Momoa as Aquaman was great here. I really liked him in Justice League, despite the fact that film didn't give any characterization to him. Here, I thought he was great as well. I mean, even better, obviously, because this whole film was focused on him. We're seeing a lot of stuff going on with his character. He was vulnerable at times. Like, yeah, he's powerful and stuff, but it didn't make it seem like he was completely unstoppable. There were times where he would actually lose a fight or stuff like that, which I thought was pretty good, because some superhero movies are just pushing, like, oh, this guy's unstoppable. And this movie didn't do that all the time. Amber Heard as Mira, kind of like the love interest. I liked her a lot in this movie. I thought she was really good. There were some kind of like really cliche moments between the two characters, and there was some really weird, like, not like just necessarily like the actual music, but like the composing. Like, some of the music in this film felt weird. There's one scene that takes place in Italy, and there was music there, or no, it was the Sahara Desert, and it felt really like weird and kind of like cartoonish, goofy sounding, and I didn't like it. Willem Dafoe, he was good. Patrick Wilson was great as the villain. I actually think this is the best villain in the DCU, in my opinion. I really liked him. He was really angry and pissed off, and I understood his reasonings for the most part, and I thought he was really good. And like I said earlier, my friend Jack, his uncle, actually plays Patrick Wilson, which is pretty cool. So he got to see this movie like a week ago. You can find his channel on YouTube, Jade the Movie Maker. He reviewed it already. But yeah, everybody in this movie did a really good job besides those two horrible child actors. Besides that, yeah, everybody here was good. Black Manta was a really cool character, not in the movie that much at all, but when he was there, he was awesome, obviously because he just had some of the coolest action sequences in the entire movie. So overall, guys, yes, this movie was awesome in my opinion. Like I said, if there's one word I would use to explain it, the word would be epic. This movie was just epic. So with all of that being said, I'm going to give Aquaman a 9 out of 10. The third act, one of the speakers in the theater actually blew out. It wasn't like this continuous noise of like the speaker going like if that was the case, that would have been like unwatchable almost, because it happened like within the last 30 minutes of the movie. It was just like every like 5 minutes or so for like 10 seconds maybe, it would kind of make like a couple noises, and it was noticeable, but it wasn't like a huge deal. Oh my god, that would have been terrible if it was like that, like one-stop continuous noise. But yeah, overall, guys, the best part of this movie, the visual effects and the action sequences, they were just top-notch. The negatives, for me, really just the dialogue. It was kind of the biggest part. Besides that, I think everything else in this movie ranged from good to absolutely awesome, and I'm going to give the film a 9 out of 10. Here comes my brother, once again, telling me I'm, like, giving a movie too high of a rating, whatever. Yeah, awesome movie. I really recommend you guys go see this. Just don't go into this expecting, like, a really serious film. Like, this film is corny and it's cheesy. You're, like, at the end of the day, that's what this movie is. But it's kind of like Avatar in the sense where, you don't watch the movie for its story and its like characters or anything. You're watching it for the visual appeal. That's kind of what I get from Aquaman. And this movie's gonna look insane on 4K. This is one of those movies. It's like a day one buy on 4K Blu-ray, because there's just no way they could make this transfer look horrible. And Warner Bros is usually really good with 4K anyways. So yeah, can't wait to get this movie on 4K whenever that comes out. Probably like April or something. But I can't wait. Anyways, guys, overall, great movie. Highly recommend you guys go see this. And if you're not a fan of the DCU, I still think you should check this out, because I do think this is the best film in the DCU by far. I think this is better than some of the MCU films. I don't know where I'd say that, but I'll make a ranking of the DCU films like tomorrow. Like I said, this is going to be my number one because I enjoyed it that much. But overall, guys, those are my thoughts on Aquaman. Thank you for watching this review, and I'll see you guys next time, where I'll be talking about Bumblebee or Mary Poppins Returns. I'm going to be seeing both of those films, so see you guys all then. And it's 2:30 a.m. by the way, on a Friday, so I have school in the morning. Oh well.